Hold on. Before we even get to the review, some things need to be said. First of all, I am here to critique this movie as a movie. If you're one of these people that are just hating on this film because of Millie Alcock and bullying Millie Alcock online, you're not wanted here, alright? I am here to critique this movie and not be a bully. If you're just one of those people that hate this movie because it's about Supergirl or it's woke or whatever, go touch some grass, please. But with that being said, let's talk about this. Greetings, my fancy friends. Welcome back to the channel. And today, I'm going to be talking about Supergirl, directed by Craig Gillespie, and is the second film in the newest DC universe. Now, I adored the 2025 Superman film. That is, in my opinion, the best Superman film ever made. I think that film is just stellar. And when they were hinting at Supergirl at the end of that movie, I was so hyped. I was so ready. More adventures with these characters and with Krypto again. I was ecstatic. But if I could give one prime example of how I felt watching this film, it would be this. Yeah, let's talk about it. The film is about Kara, or Supergirl, played by Millie Alcock, and she is really struggling at being a superhero because, well, she's causing more harm than good. She's always partying and getting drunk on red planets, starting fights, wanting to experience pain, kind of being a nuisance to everybody. She's not really doing the best job. But after a few twists and turns of events, Krypto has been poisoned by the villain Krem, and she has 3 days to find Krem and get his antidote in order to save Krypto. But not only that, a little kid comes along the way named Ruth, who wants revenge on Krem for killing her parents. So it's up to Supergirl and Ruth to find Krem, save Krypto, and live happily ever after. So I'm not going to stand here and lie to you guys about me saying that I'm a huge Supergirl fan because, honestly, I've never read a Supergirl comic. I know of the comic that this film is based on, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm a huge fanboy. I know of the character, I've seen her in a few comics here and there, but I'm not the biggest fan. Now, I was so excited to see this movie because I love Superman 2025 so much, and I do eventually want to read the comic that this movie is based on because, for how much praise that comic gets, there's no way that this film is a good adaptation of it. Okay, before I get to the bad stuff, let me at least talk about the good things. The first thing being is the practical effects. This film really reminded me of early Star Wars films because there are so many practical designs in this movie. A lot of weird creatures and aliens, some really fun puppetry. There's a lot of fun looking creatures in this movie, and you can tell a lot of love and effort went into these designs. In a day and age where everything has to be CGI, especially in superhero films, it is a breath of fresh air to see a lot of cool practical effects. And another good thing is Kara herself, Supergirl, the star of the show. Now, I'm not sure if this is a true one-to-one adaptation of this character, but I found her character to be quite enjoyable. I like seeing this superhero that is struggling with dealing with her powers and not really wanting to have this responsibility. She's pretty much the polar opposite of Superman. She always sees the bad in people and never the good in people. She always has this thing in the back of her mind where she always has this grudge against anybody around her. She just has this bitterness that Superman does not have. And it's really cool to see a main superhero have those feelings because it is interesting to see someone having to deal with the burden of being a hero. And her character is elevated thanks to Millie Alcock's performance. She does a great job in this movie, and you can tell she's having a blast playing this character. Now, I do think compared to David Cornsweet as Superman, I don't think she has that such impact that David Cornsweet had for his character, but I can still see her being a really good interpretation of this character, and I'm really excited to see more of her in this franchise. Now, with that being said, I hope she's in better projects the next time we see her because there are a lot of issues with this film that I need to talk about because what the hell happened? So there are many issues with this movie. So I'll start with the first one, and that is the story. It's boring. It is so damn boring. Like, nothing happens in this movie that has an impact whatsoever. The whole movie is just and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. Not this happens, so we need to do this because of this. The story just seems like it's on rails the entire time, and you're just going through the motions. And it doesn't help that the film just has no weight to it at all. Like, every time you go to a new planet, or every time an event happens that kind of twists the story a little bit, it doesn't have any weight to it. It all just feels just on rails and soulless. It feels like a Phase 2 Marvel movie, like Iron Man 2 or Thor the Dark World, a movie that just has no weight whatsoever. And you know a story failed when I'm not invested in a dog. The movie is about Kara trying to save Krypto. I love Krypto. He's my boy. I loved him in the first Superman movie. I loved him a lot. And when your film is focused on Krypto, and I don't care, like your main motivation is saving Krypto, and I'm bored watching that? Look, I love dogs. I have many dogs. Dogs are like my favorite thing on the planet. So when you make a movie about saving a dog, and I don't care, you failed. And it doesn't help that all the characters are so bland and generic as well. Like this girl that's alongside Kara wanting to get revenge on the main villain. Like, she's fine. Like, the performance by the actress that plays her did a good job, but I don't know, she just seemed like, a annoying kid wanting revenge, hates how people look down on her because she's small and she's, always gonna rise up and be better than anyone else thinks she's gonna be. Like, her character is fine, but it's just like so paper thin. Like, there are elements there of a good character, but it kind of seems they had like little character traits for her and didn't really write a full actual character narrative for her. She never really has an arc in the story. Now, the film has these themes about trying to be a better person and how revenge isn't always the answer, but those themes are just so paper thin in the story that they never had that impact. Like, you have a scene where the girl is about to, kill Krem, and then Kara's like, no, wait, don't do that. You're never gonna forgive yourself. You're gonna end up being a terrible person. It'll live with you for the rest of your life. Yeah, but we never really had that impact in the story to why it would lead to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Kara, she never had a moment where she, did something bad and now it's lived with her for the rest of her life. She never had, a flashback that kind of hinted at that. Nah, she's just been kind of a asshole to people, but she never really had a moment where she, killed somebody and it scarred her emotionally forever. It just seemed like a theme that was just so poorly put into the story and so out of nowhere. And as for the other side characters, let's talk about Lobo. Why was he here? What purpose did he add to the story? It's been a long time since I've seen a character that you could literally just rip out of a movie and it changed literally 0% of the entire story. Lobo has literally zero impact in this story whatsoever. Now, don't get me wrong, Jason Momoa playing Lobo is godlike casting. When I heard that he wanted to play Lobo, I was like, bam, him. I mained Lobo in the Injustice games, and he was just awesome to play as, so that's how I know his character. And I was like, oh, Jason Momoa is Lobo, that's gonna be perfect. And it's such a waste. He does nothing in this movie. He has the personality of Lobo and everything, the character is written like a Lobo in the comics, but he has just zero amount of just usefulness to the story. It seems like they just put Lobo in there just to give Jason Momoa his dream casting. I mean, why was he here? And the main villain. What a nothing burger. He had no personality whatsoever. You don't really know about his past. You don't know why he's collecting weapons. He has like this secret villain plan about, slaving women, I guess. Like, but that's kind of just poorly forced into the story and never really goes anywhere. Like, he's just an asshole that poisoned Crypto, and that's kind of it. Like, he has like no weight in the story at all either. Like, what was the point of his character, if he even had a character? And James Gunn, look, you gotta do better designs on your villains now. Like, every villain you make nowadays just has to have like weird stuff on their face. Like, can you come up with a new idea for a looking villain? Like, make him look a little bit more menacing than just having face piercings? Like, come on. Like, I'm just kind of just dumbfounded at how disappointing this movie was for me. Like, the entire story, I kind of just felt like I was on autopilot the whole time. Like, I felt no weight at all. When Crypto got poisoned, like, I would think I would feel like this heavy emotion, but by that point in the movie, I was already just kind of, I don't know, just done with it. And very early on too, like, early on in the movie, I could just tell that something was just off about this movie. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but it was just so lifeless. Like, what happened? And as for the action sequences, they're kind of okay. Or let me rephrase that. They're almost okay, but they are ruined by some of the worst editing I've seen for a superhero film, at least for action sequences, in I don't know how long. The editing here is appalling. Like, not even during the action. Through the whole film, the editing is appalling. You have moments where like scenes are like there for 1 second and it's a cut, 1 second cut, 1 second cut. I felt like I was gonna get a migraine for how many times the camera was just cutting between scenes. Like, the editing here is just appalling. Like, I was just so dumbfounded at how like the action sequences were just so choppy and never had any rhythm or flow to it. It just felt like I was just watching like a flip book, kind of like just flipping through pages of watching an action sequence with like no real just drive or momentum. It was just so damn choppy. And it doesn't help that the CGI is absolute ass. I mean, thank God that the practical effects and the makeup and the character designs and the creatures and all that looked cool. But the CGI and the green screen, like, it looked so bad. Like, I hate to just dog on this movie because I wanted it to be so good. I was so looking forward to it, but this movie's just ugly to look at. Not even during the action stuff, but you have like these slimy dive bars and like you see parts of Krypton later on in the movie and it looks gross there too, with like this weird Vaseline sheen on the screen, it looks like, because everything is just so blurry in this movie. Like, everything looks so gross here, which I guess you could say is maybe kind of the point, because Kara and Supergirl is in like this gross state of her life and not being a hero and everything, but I don't know, like, I want my movie to look good at least, and not this one. But now let's talk about one thing that I'm sure you've heard about, the music. Now first, the soundtrack, kind of forgettable. Like, there's not one track I really remember. I love Superman's theme in his movie from 2025. I love his main theme. It's awesome, it's bombastic, it's full of energy. And in this movie, there's not one track I could remember or even like hum. And then we get to the needle drops. First of all, why are there needle drops in this movie? It makes sense for something like, say, Guardians of the Galaxy, because Peter Quill has his Walkman. It kind of makes sense for Superman 2025 because it takes place on Earth. But in this film, we like go to Earth like once. And the most of the movie takes place on other planets. Why are we listening to Jimmy Eat World, the middle, a female version of that song, in this movie? Yeah, some of the needle drops in this movie are some of the most out of place needle drops I've heard in a very long time. Like, there's one part in the movie, and everyone's been dogging on it. It's during the climax. They played this one song, and I couldn't help but just raise my arms in the air and just be like, what? I saw this movie with my friends, and they were all just dumbfounded too. Like, I would not be surprised if when we get this movie released, like, on Blu-ray, that they just edit out that song for something different. Why didn't they just play Blondie's Call Me, the song they've been playing in all the trailers? Why are we listening to a female version of The Middle? It fits so out of place. And the thing is, you could easily fix this movie with one simple change. One thing, and it fixes the entire movie. It fixes the entire story. It fixes the characters. Make Lobo the main villain. Let me explain. Lobo and Supergirl are such similar characters. Both of them have god complexes. Both of them abuse their powers. Both of them are very similar characters. And Lobo is a prime example if Supergirl keeps on going this route of not really using her powers for good. Like, imagine that. You have this villain that shows how evil Supergirl could actually be. And yet, no, we got Krem the villain that does nothing in this movie whatsoever. And the thing is, that fixes Supergirl's character arc too, about, trying to be a better person and not doing things that stick with you forever and hold you back. Like, it fixes the whole story if you just make Lobo the main villain. And then they can go up against each other and have cool fights and everything, and you're actually caring about the story because you're thinking to yourself, man, if Supergirl doesn't change her ways, she could end up just like Lobo. If you make Lobo the main villain, it fixes everything pretty much. Like, why wasn't he the villain? Why? Like, and the thing is, Jason Momoa is so good as Lobo, and it would have been great to see him more in this movie. He's in the movie for like 10 minutes. But if you make him the main villain, it fixes so much. Okay, I know I've been dogging on this film, and I apologize, but let's just recap. It's got bad side characters, bad villain, bad visual effects, bad CGI, bad green screen, bad music. Is there anything else that's good in this movie? Now that I think about it, there's one other good thing. We do get some flashbacks with Kara and seeing her on Krypton and seeing how she was alone growing up and everything. That stuff is very cool. And I could kind of see where the film was going at for her character arc of, trying to be a better person. There are some really sweet moments between her and Superman in the movie that is just amazing, seeing those two characters together once again. But you have just like little droplets of good stuff in this movie, and everything else is just bad. Oh, that hurts to say. That so hurts to say. Like, there's nothing worse than a disappointing movie. If there's a movie that I know is going to be bad going in, like, I'm not going to be upset, but just being disappointed by something you're so excited for is just heartbreaking. That's the best way to put it. This film is just heartbreaking to watch. I see the potential of some good things here, but as a whole, at least I have Clayface to look forward to. Which is why I'm going to give Supergirl the trash top hat. Oh, that hurts to say. To all my fancy friends out there, thank you so much for watching. But if it's your first time here and you like what you've seen, be sure to subscribe for more content. Now, have you seen Supergirl? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Hope you have a fantastic night. And as always, stay fancy.